next one is Carla Andreani. I will now say a few sentences in English first and in Italian after. Carla is a full professor in physics, and she works at the Second University of Rome, I guess Tor Vergata is the right name. She has had several important roles in different organizations concerning also the preservation of relevant, let's say, masterpieces of art. She has a role in the Nordic Neutron Science Program and in the Swedish Foundation for Strategic Research. And she works within a community of students, researchers, and teachers with different nationalities and different cultures. And she has a passion. She's fond of neutrons. And this is, let's say, a tradition we inherited from Enrico Fermi. And I think it's something our country can be proud of. Carla è un fisico sperimentale, lavora all'Università di Tor Vergata, ha avuto diversi, ed ha tuttora diversi ruoli in consigli di amministrazione e in enti di ricerca, ha a che fare con diversi programmi per facility di neutroni che sono di fatto la sua passione. E diciamo con questi lei diagnostica e contribuisce anche a diagnosticare lo stato di salute delle opere d'arte, tra le altre cose. Anche lei è una persona di multiforme ingegno e lascio quindi a lei adesso il campo. Carla.
Oh, I see. I have to go back like that. Okay, so I start again. See, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yes, yes.
Okay, sorry about that. So in this short speech, Paul and I have chosen two examples in which respect can be declined in the context of a meeting between art and science. So I will show two simple examples of scientists where art and science meet thanks to teams of researchers which use physics techniques to study artifacts at the atomic scale, so to reveal the components in an absolutely non-destructive and non-invasive way, in order to deliver new information for conservation and restoration purposes. So in this context, the first example that you see in this slide on the left is the non-invasive study of Raffaello's Fornarina, which was performed by the MUSA project led by Paolo Branchini. And on the right, you see an example of a vase from the Egyptian Museum in Turin, which was studied either in a lab like the Fornarina and also at the Spallation source in Oxford. So let's go quickly to say a few words on the first example. This work, very important, interesting work, has been performed within the MUSA Technology Transfer Project, which where new instrumentation has been developed by the INFN at the University of Roma 3, and then transferred to companies operating in the cultural heritage area for their technological enhancement. Now, this was beginning of January, at the end of January 2020, and it took place, you see here a team of scientists at the Barberini Corsini National Galleries. Just few days, I remember that everything was moved to the Scuderia of Quirinale for the exhibition celebrating the 500th anniversary of Raffaello's death. And you can see that the environment, the ecosystem here is very interesting because you have visitors going around, seeing the paintings, and at the same time seeing the scientists operating in a very careful and non-destructive way of the very rare painting. And this is just few photos of the team and the equipment that are transportable, so they can be used, and they are used in many museums in the world by several teams. I should say Italian teams. Italy is in one of the first nation where these techniques have been used in the context of cultural heritage. And of course, behind this, there is the work of very passionate scientists, and you can see the picture here of these young and less young researchers next to such a pressure paintings that you can see in the background. Now, here is a little example, if I manage to start, yes, where there is the photogrammetric acquisition of the painting. In other words, this machine, this instrument, which operates in the front and the back and on the sides of the painting, is able to obtain detailed image of the same object, and this allowed unprecedented enlargements of rendering of colors, tones, details, sharpenings, and lightening. And you know, this 3D model is really important because the accuracy of this work highlights order of tens million times smaller than a meter. So you can go down to 10 millions of a meter and look at the details of this or any other painting. Now, what is the result of this study, of this big effort? Well, the result is very unique because this add information, unprecedented information and unique information for monitoring the conservation status of the painting. And in that sense, that will mean that this kind of study will allow the painting to last in a good position for a longer time. This, of course, is also economically as well as artistic a good result. The second example, always on the Fornarina, is that the instrument is also able to look at the composition at the atomic level. In this particular case, you can see the chemical investigation of this painting, which is showing the presence of copper and lead, you see, in this different square place. And this is what they call the Fornarina at under X-ray. But don't worry, the X-ray do not ruin the Fornarina. It's just a map of a Fornarina with different eyes. These are like Superman eyes of the surface of Fornarina, picking up the composition of the Fornarina. The second example, we move to Museo Egizio in Turin, and in this case, scientists use neutron 3D tomography or X-ray and gamma beams here in Turin, and you can see as in Rome, the same environment. You have visitors at the Egyptian Museum. There are scientists. This is the director, Christian Greco, and the team, which is a multidisciplinary team, I suppose, like in the case of Paolo. There are chemists, archaeologists, physicists, and here the request of the Museo Egizio was to look at textiles, to look at the inks on the textile, and to sealed vase, alabaster in particular. And the reason was that in both cases there were unanswered questions that the archaeologist has. So in this case, we sometimes it stops. So we have to in this case, we also moved to the countryside of Oxfordshire, where one can use Italy as a tradition, as Paolo was reminding at the beginning, because Fermi was the first scientist that slow down neutrons, as we say, thermalized neutrons, and show the possibility of looking inside the materials, like eyes of Superman inside the bulk of the material. And Italy has a tradition in the last 35 years, because some of this instrumentation has been built in British and Italian collaboration. From the scope of this, you can see here, these are the pans of the Ka architect of Tutankhamun tomb, and the detailed studied managed to, this is the pans on the one of the beamline at Isis. What comes out from that? Well, what comes out is that the composition, in the case of the textile, the composition of black ink inscribed on ancient Egyptian linen. We measure a total of corpus of 19 inscribed textiles. Scientists argued that the inks in the textile were related to the family of some particular composition of iron gall inks, whose introduction is commonly attributed to the 3rd century before Christ. But you see, here we are talking of much more than 3rd century. We're talking of 3,000 years beyond us. So this means that, in a way, this was a very new finding, which, if confirmed, could provide the archaeologists a very important clue on the manufacturing of the inks. And here on the left, you can see the inside of these vases, and I show you, to conclude, the tomography, like a CAT scan that you get when you go for medical diagnostic, and it's the same thing. Instead of a human body, this is a material, and one can deliver to the archaeologist the composition inside: oil vase, this alabaster on the bottom, and the vase of food, seal vase on the top. And these are as I said at the beginning, these people this researcher, young researcher of several nationality, who are several culture, who are sharing the passion for this, for the use of the technology to help other community, like the community of art, to go ahead in the knowledge. Thank you very much.
Carla, thank you very much for your speech. It was extremely interesting. We see art and physics as, let's say, melting pot. Yes. Where people can really meet, people coming from different experiences, different cultures, different societies and nationalities. And I think I had the chance, I had the fortune to take part to one of these experiences. This is extremely interesting, culturally speaking. And I would repeat the exercise an infinite amount of time. So, if you have questions for Carla or comments. Okay.
If not, I may, yes, Carlo, Paolo, if I may.
Yes, please. Go ahead, Tanya.
Ask a question to Carla.
Yes.
First of all, congratulations. It's a really very interesting presentation and a fascinating, where you combine physics to art. And my question is, at the first part, when you're talking about Fornarina, you said that this can help to monitor it, to give a last longer preservation and conservation to the hearts. What do you meant by that? Because I understood, sorry, I understood that it was like to help the preservation and conservator to analyze and then to understand better how an artifact has been created.
Not only.
Okay, what do you mean?
Thank you very much for this question, because this is the real reason for understanding not only the information, as you said, that you deliver to another community, to understand how it has been machined, how it's been, which kind of food find inside that vase, the top vase that I showed last, where the Egyptian used it. But the real, I think, the important thing is that if you provide information how to the conservator, how to, which of the 2 or 3 method they use is best, that will go, that sample, that artifact will last better. We did it with the Ghiberti heads, you know, the golden heads in Florence. These heads of the golden door of paradise that Ghiberti manufactured, for Florence, they were in the flood of Florence, and just before and the scientist of the Opificio delle Pietre Dure, which is an important in Florence, they were doing the restoration and tried 2 different methods, okay, to restore one of the Ghiberti heads. And with this kind of analysis, we were able to show which of the 3 different examples were better than the others. So they then used of the gold of all the paradise door, that particular method of restoration.